Hi students, I'm Una.
And I'm Scott.
I'm a UK OET teacher.
I'm also an OET teacher from the UK.
We've been teaching students to pass their exams for many years.
And now we're excited to help you pass your exams too.
This is the Swish English OET podcast.
Let's get started.
Are you struggling with your OET exam preparation?
Are you unsure how to reach your target score of a grade A or B? Let Swish English help you get there.
Go to www.swishenglish.com or click the link in the description for your free OET complete guide to writing.
Everything you need to know to pass your OET writing step by step. Go to www.swishenglish.com or click on the link in the description below. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Swish English podcast with myself, Scott.
And I'm Una.
Well done. All right, let's get started today. So today we're talking about something a little bit different to what we normally do in our podcast. Today we're actually going to go into a specific skill I think that all students can do with improving in order to improve their reading score. That skill is called skimming.
Skimming.
So today's podcast is going to go through some tips for you to improve this essential skill and get higher marks in the OET reading sections across all parts A, B and C, because it is a very, very essential skill, and we want everyone just to recognize what skimming is and how it can improve your score as well.
And of course, skimming can come into practice in the listening section as well, when you have to really look at the questions and the sentences and get an idea, in before the recording begins.
It's actually relevant in every section as well, even for the speaking section when you're looking at that role play card. Granted, you don't have a lot of information to take in, but it is important to get that information as well as even the writing as well whenever you're looking through the case notes. So skimming, as we can see, actually skimming is entirely useful for all four sections.
Exactly.
But today it's going to be obviously
specifically
aimed
important
at reading because it is essential.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So what exactly is skimming?
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is skimming? So of course it's reading expeditiously, quickly through a text, looking for the overall idea, the overall meaning, or the gist. I love that word, the gist.
The gist. So we
the
say
gist of the text.
Expeditious reading. Reading incredibly quickly, but getting as much information as possible in that time as well.
And does that mean reading every single word?
100% no. You can't actually read every single word while you're skimming. That wouldn't be skimming then, but it's getting the important information, the gist and the key details.
Yes, exactly. So that you're able to have an overall good idea of what the text is about. And, it gives you an idea as well. As whenever you skim and you get an idea of the topic, well then all these different ideas of what the text is going to be about start to flood in your head as well.
Precisely.
Especially if you are, of course, a medical professional and you're familiar with the kinds of text that you come across, whether it is in the reading section, something from the workplace, like a document about procedure, or whether it's actually a journal that you're skimming through to get the overall idea, like in part C. So yeah, it gives you an idea of the context of the piece, and you maybe even vocabulary might start to flood into your head as well, and the kind of words you expect to hear.
It's like connecting the dots, right? Connecting things together by having that good overall understanding of what a given text is about.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So how can we skim successfully text in the OET reading section? Once again, that is the million-dollar question. And what should we be doing while we're skimming as well? Well, the first thing that we should probably be doing in the reading section is looking at our headings. So each reading section text will be different in its format a little bit. That's why it's important, obviously, to look at the headings.
Yeah, so if there are headings, you can get a lot of great information from them. Just by quickly looking at them, you're automatically going to start to think and get an idea of what the overall meaning is of that text. So I'll give you an example, okay? So if one of the headings was technique for plaster back slab for arm fractures. So you might think, okay, just one heading, I'm not getting too much information from that. You would be wrong if you're thinking that, okay? You can get so much information as to what you're going to expect to hear, or to read,
actually,
when you look at that.
On the contrary, looking at that heading is probably the most important thing you can look at, because that's pretty much everything you want to do in your skimming summarized in one heading. You've got the gist by looking at the heading itself, so don't skip it, don't go into the body. Make sure you pay attention to those headings as well.
Very quickly, of course, everything we're discussing today, although we might be dragging it out, it is a quick process. Skimming is a very quick process. So for example, technique. So what do you get out of the word technique alone? Well, you know that the reading is going to be about a set of instructions or procedure, okay? You know that's what you're going to be reading. Then we have a back slab, okay? So perhaps you're going to be thinking plaster back slab. You're going to be thinking, right, so I'm going to see materials. I'm going to see what kind of materials are used for the construction of a back slab. These are the kind of words I'm going to come across. Arm fractures. What kind of things are you going to read about when you are mentioning arm fractures? Perhaps references to joints, references to fractures, references to different positions and the way the back slab should be placed or maintained. So straight away, you've already got a really good idea as to what the overall meaning of that text is.
With techniques, plaster, back slab, arm fracture, you'll be looking for words or ideas which are expressed in that way. So therefore, that will improve then your ability to extract the answer by doing that brief bit of skimming.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a good idea. It means you're not going into the questions in the dark. You already know perhaps where to look for answers. You know the kind of words to go straight to when you're in relation to any particular question. So already we're beginning to see that skimming is invaluable. Work on your skimming skills.
So pay attention to your headings. The next thing you would then look at as well is the layout of the texts, because every text is going to be slightly different. What are some examples of some texts that we might have in OET?
So in case you might have a table. Of course, we have paragraphs. What else? A graph.
You might have a graph. You might have bullet points. You might have case notes as well. So it might
definitions with bullet points.
It might not appear as one chunk of text. It could be divided into different sections. So of course, depending on what that section is,
depending on the part,
depending on what that part is, obviously there are different ways that we can utilize our skimming skills to get the most useful information from these sections.
Are you struggling with your OET exam preparation?
Are you unsure how to reach your target score of a grade A or B? Let Swoosh English help you get there.
Go to www.swooshenglish.com or click the link in the description for your free OET complete guide to writing.
Everything you need to know to pass your OET writing step by step. Go to www.swooshenglish.com or click on the link in the description below.
So really look out for those bullet points, emboldened words as well. So perhaps maybe you have a table which has bold words, and you are not a table but just like a little box.
Yes.
And you look at it and you think, oh well, it looks like this is definitions.
Yes.
And that's a really good.
So as Una says, emboldened words. For example, I've got a text in front of me which has emboldened words: fractures, dislocation, and sprain. Then you have the description, sometimes with bullet points as well. For example, fracture often occur following direct or indirect injury, blah 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 blah. So we know that therefore we got definitions from that, and we got the information laid out nice and neatly. So we can think, okay, what does that information show, and how can I organize that skimming and scanning skills in order to get the information from the relevant question? We're looking at those bullet points and those key
exactly. And then whenever you go to the questions, particularly for part A, this is so important because you have those different texts, and when you're skimming the text, you want to get a good idea of what the topic is, what it's about, so that whenever you go to look at the questions, you know where to go to, you know which text applies to which question, and straight away you can eliminate that process of perhaps going through a text looking for an answer and it ends up not being the correct text that you're looking at.
Of course, yeah.
So ask yourself when you're looking at the layout, what sort of text is this, and where do I need to look for the information in the future? Where will I need to look for that specific information?
Right. Okay. What about then a table then as well? Where are we looking for that information?
So of course it really depends on the kind of table that you have, but you're looking at the boxes that are usually in a different color or shaded out a little bit more, that have the titles in the box. For example, I have a box here in front of me. It's a table which clearly is showing lots of numerical information. And then first skimming it here, I can see dosage, morphine. Okay, so straight away I know it's a focus on the drug morphine, and it's about the strength and dosage included in different scenarios.
Yes.
Okay, so straight away I know that's the gist of the text and the overall. You can see how quickly I was able to get that general idea.
But of course, you are a native English speaker and an OET teacher as well.
Maybe I've looked at this before.
Maybe looked at it before. But anyway.
But I know you would be able to do the same thing if you got your skimming skills up to scratch.
Yeah. So the point is, when you're looking at tables, you're obviously looking at any headings. For example, we've got a heading here, drug therapy protocol. You think, okay, drug therapy, this is medication. This is for helping someone. And then we have as I said, the listing of the titles: drug, form, strength, morphine, etc., etc. We therefore know that we're talking about the drug morphine, how it can be used to medicate in different doses in different situations.
Exactly.
From looking at that information.
So a table will be very helpful. If it is a table that you come across, it's going to break the information up nicely. Okay, so then the next thing, and this is particularly important in relation to part C, because although skimming is very important in part A, because as I said, you have to skim those texts first of all to get an idea so that that you can then go back with your questions. But part B and C is very important to also skim those longer texts before you get into reading the questions and the answer options in detail. So when you skim those texts, you want to get a really good idea of the overall topic, the overall gist, like we said. And it gives you a sense of what is coming up. So the one thing that is very important in these longer texts is the topic sentence. So what is a topic sentence?
A topic sentence is essentially the idea that is often contained in the first sentence, which gives basically the general overall meaning of a given topic on a given paragraph or text.
Yes, exactly.
And often it's the most important thing that you can do when you're skimming, when you're reading a long text, is to understand that topic sentence.
Yes, straight away a topic sentence is going to acquaint you with the topic. And if you're talking about looking at the topic sentence in each different paragraph, which I recommend you do, it's very important in part C, well, it's going to give you an idea of what kind of opinion or what particular slant on the topic is being taken within each paragraph. So super important to look at those topic sentences. As you said, they include the topic and the controlling idea of the text, and they're going to give you a really good idea of the structure of the text, and then you can sometimes know, okay, this question, I can go back to that paragraph, I know it was about that.
Right.
Yeah, so important to skim in part C as well and get a good idea of that longer article that you will have in the likes of part C in the reading section. Okay, so like we said, begin with headings, super important. Look at the structure of the text, what kind of text is it you're analysing, and remember topic sentences when it comes to longer texts, very important paragraphs. Okay.
Thanks for pretty much explaining all of that. I didn't have a chance to say absolutely anything there.
Sorry, I didn't ask you any questions. I was on a roll.
It's good.
Do you have anything final to add?
No, you pretty much summarised it. Yep. Just obviously practice your skimming and your scanning skills. We're going to do a separate podcast on scanning very soon. Obviously, practice your skimming skills against a variety of different texts, your tables, your definitions, and also your long and short text as well. Make sure you look out for the headings and
do it in all of the practice you do, perhaps before you start reading a piece of reading in detail, whether it's just your novel that you read about, I don't know, crime novel, whatever. Skim paragraphs here and there and see if you can just give an overall gist and meaning of what it's about and test yourself.
Fantastic. So get those skills, put them into practice. As we said, they're useful for reading mostly, but also in writing, listening, and speaking as well. Basically, they're just useful for life.
Just reading fast. Super important. Yeah, it is. That is true. We do need to, have these skills generally in life, of course.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that pretty much summarises our podcast, or I should say Una's podcast, on skimming for OET reading. So thanks a lot for coming today. We hope you got lots of useful information out of this, and we'll see you again for some more OET tips here at Swoosh English.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.